Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. Right now you're watching our video comparison between the Nokia Lumia 1520 and the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. Then again, the Nokia Lumia 1520 aims to challenge the Note 3, seeing that it's a fresh face on the scene, and on top of that, it's the biggest and baddest Windows phone to date. So without any more interruptions, we present to you our comparison between the Lumia 1520 and the Note 3. We'll get straight to the point and just say that the design of the Lumia 1520 is a lot more favorable than the Note 3. That's partly because it's available in a wide array of colors. It has a distinctive stylish design, whereas the Note 3 just comes off a little bit too conventional. Part of the reason why we prefer the design of the Lumia 1520 is that it's sturdier with its polycarbonate plastic casing. It's a unibody plastic construction, so there's no creaks or seams, so it just feels a lot more solid. And the nice thing about it has a very nice streamlined thinness to it that's in part to its tapered design. As for the Note 3, rather than having a stylish design, it has more of a sophisticated look thanks in part to its faux paul leather-like material combined with the stitching around the edges. Just when we thought the Note 3 is one beastly of a phone to hold in the hand, the Lumia 1520 takes it up a notch just because it's wider than the Note 3, so it doesn't feel as comfortable. On top of that, you have these sharp, pointy corners here, which kind of jabs your hand as you're holding it, so it doesn't feel as good compared to the curved edges on the Note 3. Even with their massive size, they're armed with some stunning looking displays that really captures our attention right from the start. The size advantage goes to the Lumia 1520 just because it's sporting a larger 6-inch 1080p IPS LCD panel, which gives it a pixel density count of 368 pixels per inch. Whereas with the Note 3, it's a 5.7-inch 1080p Super AMOLED display, so when you do the math, it has actually a higher pixel density count of 386 pixels per inch. Obviously, on paper, the Note 3 has the advantage when it comes to detail superiority, but when we're looking at them both closely, it's still really hard to distinguish which one's better, just because the Lumia 1520's display still manages to produce the same crisp-looking details as its rival. Seeing that they both rely on two totally different display technologies, they have their advantages. So you have IPS LCD panel with the Lumia 1520, and the nice thing about that, it produces colors that are more natural in tone and offers superior outdoor visibility. Meanwhile, with this Super AMOLED panel of the Note 3, it really captures our attention with its oversaturated colors, blown out, it's really vibrant, and the fact that it offers the wider viewing angles, but it tends to wash out more under outdoor usage. One thing worth pointing out is that there's a little bit more tech involved with the AMOLED display of the Note 3. Specifically, it actually has the neat functionality of working in conjunction with our finger and also the S Pen stylus. So basically, we could hover our finger over certain things and actually will recognize that. If we take a look around the edges of both smartphones, we're going to find some things that they have in common, but there are other things that are different. So first, we have their respective physical controls, the power button and volume controls. They're both a little bit flat to the touch, but the responses are nice with them. The other thing they have in common are their 3.5mm headset jacks and microphones all around their bodies. But when it comes to data and power ports, you have a micro USB 3.0 port in the Note 3, which allows it to transfer data a lot faster and also charge its battery faster too than the standard micro USB port of the Lumia 1520. And lastly, it's worth mentioning that the Galaxy Note 3 is also outfitted with a very useful IR blaster, which actually doubles as a universal remote. It's really wonderful that they feature storage expandability via micro SD card slots. It's just a lot more accessible with the Note 3 just because you just got to remove the back cover and there it is. Whereas with the Lumia 1520, you got to use a SIM removal tool just to gain access to it. If you're a hardcore shutterbug, you're really going to appreciate what these two have to offer. It's a beefy 20 megapixel PureView camera in the Lumia 1520, and it features a dual LED flash, Zeiss lens with an aperture at f2.4, a backside illuminated sensor, 1080p video recording, and its front-facing camera is actually at 1.2 megapixels. We can't count out the Note 3 as well, just because it's proven itself to be a viable competitor. It features a 13 megapixel autofocus camera, which features an LED flash, an f2.2 aperture lens, a backside illuminated sensor, and of course 1080p video recording. As for its front-facing camera, it's a 2 megapixel snapper. So here are the respective platform experiences. On the Note 3, it's Android 4.3 Jelly Bean with the TouchWiz user interface running on top of it. With the Lumia 1520, it's running the most up-to-date version of Windows Phone 8 with the GDR3 update. We'll cut to the chase. For all it's worth and all the enhancements found with the Windows Phone 8 experience on the Lumia 1520, it still doesn't quite rival the total set of features and functionality we get out of the Note 3 and its customized Android 4.3 Jelly Bean experience. Let's first take a look at their home screen. So in this case, the start screen with Windows Phone 8. Now it's nice that it has a very dynamic look thanks to the live tiles, and to an extent it offers us some personalization just because we can rearrange those live tiles in different ways and also different sizes. However, it lacks the total package that the Note 3 offers with its home screen, so we could add several different things, and in those home screen, of course, we could utilize different widgets to better give it a more personalized look. It's a little bit more messy when it comes to notifications on the Lumia 1520. Now, here at the lock screen, we appreciate the glance feature. It allows us to see some of the notifications, but actually trying to figure out what they are, we have to go to the start screen and look at each and every live tile to find out what they are exactly. There's not a central unified area that has them all. And that's exactly why we like how the Note 3 handles it. All we gotta do is swipe down anytime, and from here we have the notifications panel for quick access to all of our notifications. On top of that, we're given some added functionality too, like being able to archive emails or even share stuff. At the same time, the multitasking experience is far better with the Note 3. We could use the usual standard way of actually moving in and out of applications, but with the Note 3's multi-windows feature, we could actually juggle two different applications simultaneously, so it does offer true multitasking. In comparison, we got to hold down the back button on the Lumia 1520 to get into the multitasking menu. From here, we could jump in and out of different applications. It's basic and it gets the job done, but not quite as extensive or as useful as what we find with the Note 3. When it comes to productivity, they have their own unique assets. Now here on the Lumia 1520, it's preloaded with the Office application. So from here, we can essentially create a new Word document or Excel spreadsheet. So it's pretty handy even when you're on the go. Even though it doesn't have its own Office-like application out of the box, you could of course download an alternative from the Google Play Store, so you have that. But the nice thing about the Note 3 is that it offers a lot of useful productivity tools. For example, you have the S-Note application Action Memo, which works in conjunction with the S Pen styles to give us a lot of precision and control. And again, it imitates that paper and pen experience. And then there's the matter of app support. Seeing that Android has been in development for quite some time, it benefits by having, a very extensive set from its Google Play Store, whereas with the Lumia 1520 and Windows Phone 8 in general, you might not find as many of the popular ones out there, but it is growing with each passing day. Interestingly enough, they're powered by the same processor, a quad-core 2.2 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor with the Adreno 330 GPU, but the Note 3 is actually packing 3 GB of RAM versus only 2 GB in the Lumia 1520. They're both really fast and snappy, but the Lumia 1520 is just a little bit more consistent with its performance. It doesn't seem to be plagued by as many instances of slowdown or lag that we see sometimes on the Note 3. Like we said, the Note 3 is still a very equipped handset in delivering a really nice responsive performance. But every now and then with the home screen here, when we have a lot of widgets combined with the live wallpaper, we sometimes see a hitch with its performance. Beyond that, all the other operations it does, it's pretty much responsive and quick. Not surprisingly, the web browsing experience is just top-notch with these two smartphones. That's because they feature fast 4G LTE connectivity, so pages load up very quickly. You have some smooth navigational controls and instant page rendering. However, there's an added incentive with the Note 3. For example, you have Smart Scroll, which actually allows us to scroll up or down with our eyes. And on top of that, with the S Pen, we get a little bit more precise control in navigating around. We also can't forget about the respective personal and digital voice assistant services, Google Now on the Note 3 and the Bing experience on the Lumia 1520. Bing is just very basic in what it can do, whereas with the Google Now experience, it's far superior just because it offers a lot more features and it's also more aware. Between them, we like the music player with Windows Phone just because it's just a lot more dynamic with its presentation. And as far as the audio quality, we gotta say they're equal in every point, from their loudness and their clarity, it's identical. We actually like the video watching experience on both. Thanks to their large displays and sharp resolutions, it's just very lively and really captures our attention, so either one is great for the occasion. Yet again though, the Note 3 shows us its worth just because it has some added functionality that which we really appreciate. For example, we have pop-up play, which allows us to actually layer the video on top of something else. So basically we can multitask with it. So as we're surfing the web, we can also continue watching that video. So here are the respective camera apps. Now they both offer a pretty high degree of manual controls, which is pretty nice for any shutterbugs out there that wants precise control in what they shoot. So for example, you could adjust things like the ISO and the white balance. But the nice thing about the Lumia 1520 is that we could also adjust the focus, which is something that we can't do on the Note 3. However, when it comes to shooter modes, we get a lot more diversity with the Note 3 just because the camera app actually incorporates all of them. So you have very useful things like drama shot, where you can have this really nice animated look, or simple things like an HDR mode. As for the Lumia 1520, it doesn't have it incorporated into the camera app. Instead, you got to use the Nokia Creative Studio application to actually be able to enhance some of the photos by either applying different effects or color modes. You'll actually be surprised by the results, but even though the 13 megapixel camera of the Note 3 might be overshadowed by the higher 20 megapixel snapper in the Lumia 1520, the results when it comes to outdoor images is pretty much close to one another. They take some amazing looking photos, a lot of good details, natural colors, and also proper exposure, so they really enhance the photos and they take macro shots very well. Then again, the Lumia 1520 really shows its worth when it comes to low lighting performance. It just beats the Note 3 in this particular aspect. Now, it's partly aided by its optical image stabilization and its longer exposure. So what happens is photos tend to be a lot brighter than the Note 3's results. On top of that, it's less prone to blurring. So what we get here is just sharper looking details. Strangely though, it's actually the Note 3 that produces the better looking 1080p videos from its camera. It's kind of weird when you think about that, but that's the case. Its videos just seem to be a lot sharper looking, filled with a lot of good details, whereas the Lumia 1520, it's a lot more subdued with its details and kind of looks a little bit diminished compared to its rival. Video shot under lower lighting conditions are also better with the Note 3, just because with the Lumia 1520, it's just really subdued by a lot of heavy noise in its shot. It's not as prevalent with the Note 3. I'm not going to go out and say that they're the best things for the occasion, but they get the job done. But we don't find one handset to be better than the other when it comes to the call quality experience, just because with the Note 3, the earpiece tends to emit a little bit of crackling and the volume output tends to be a little bit lower on the Lumia 1520. There was a time when we thought these giant-sized smartphones would give us barely any battery life, but impressively, these two are pretty much better than average. In fact, we're able to get easily a solid day of heavy usage out of the two, though we tend to get a little bit more juice out of the Lumia 1520. At the end of the day, it just seems as though you're getting a deeper and more diverse software experience out of the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. It's armed with a ton of very useful features, sometimes redundant, but nevertheless, it just has a lot to offer out of the box. Then again, if you're willing to experiment or have a lot of patience, you'll appreciate what the Windows Phone experience has to offer on the Lumia 1520. Combined with those Nokia branded applications, it definitely has its own set of usefulness, but then again, it doesn't quite have the diversity seen with Android. Now this is where the kicker comes in. Pricing. With the Lumia 1520, it really astounds us with its on-contract price point of $100 out of the get-go. That's an impressive price point considering what kind of hardware it's packing along, its size, and its performance. In comparison, the Note 3's $300 price point is just greatly out of proportion when you think about it. 3 times the cost as the Nokia Lumia 1520. But then again, as we've seen, it's a very well-rounded performer. It's great, it's fast, lots of high-end specs, and of course, it's all about that software experience, which is, as we've seen, far greater than what the Lumia 1520 has to offer. Knowing all that, if you have the money and you're not concerned about that, the Note 3 is a fantastic device for you. It's very geared towards power users, as we've seen from the Android experience. On the flip side, if you're all about saving money but you don't want to have a compromised experience, then the Lumia 1520 is going to be the great device for you. On top of that, it takes some astounding photos as well with its 20 megapixel pure view camera, and it is by far the best Windows phone out there. So if you guys want to learn more about either handsets, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. John V. Thanks for watching.